Well, hello, hello. Oh my, it looks like my phone is about to die just when I went live. Okay, hopefully it doesn't die on me. Um, yes, I am live. As soon as I turn on my phone, I realize that my phone is about to die. So let's get with this live, and we hope that it won't die. Well, hello, hello. How are you doing today? This is the day that the Lord has made, and we will rejoice and be glad. Okay. All right. So today I wanted to share with you how all your experiences that you've had has value in them. Did you know that? All the experiences that you've had, whether good or bad, they all have value in them. How can you actually turn all your burdens into blessing? That's a good question. If you see me looking here and looking there, I'm live on Facebook and Instagram and on YouTube. So that's why I'm doing that. Okay. So, one of my favorite stories in the Bible is the story of Joseph. Besides the story of David, I love that story. But the story of Joseph is a very fascinating story, right? Joseph was sold into slavery by his very own siblings, his very own brothers, sold them into slavery. And then he later on was accused of a crime that he did not commit, and he was thrown into jail. So Joseph went through a lot of heartaches, a lot of trauma, a lot of toil, a lot of difficulties. And Joseph in Genesis chapter 50, verse 20, Joseph said that what you intended for evil against me, God intended it for good. And you wonder how in the world can you go through something so difficult like that and turn around and you have a mindset shift that this is actually a blessing. In Genesis chapter 41, verse 51, the Bible tells us that Joseph has two sons, Manasseh and Ephraim. Are you ready for this? So Manasseh actually means that, okay, first of all, let me stop right there. This is very important before I tell you about the names. In the Jewish community, in the Jewish culture, names are very, very important. Okay. It's not like here in America that people would just roll out of bed and they'll just take a spoon and drop it on the floor and go click, and then they will name their child click. And then you see the child, you're like, what's your name? Click. What does it mean? I don't know. My mom just woke up and named me click. Don't do that. Okay. Don't do that. So names are very important. Even in Nigeria, names are very important. People actually are very intentional about how they name their child. It has a meaning. Literally, your name is supposed to call you into your destiny. Do you understand what I mean? Names are powerful, names are important. So please, if you're listening to me and you are single or you're married and you don't have a child yet, please do not name your child click click. Don't just roll out of bed and just like, what's your name? Don't do that, okay? Okay. All right. So anyway, let's get back to the story now. I let me get back to the story. So names are very important in Jewish community. So when you see names in the Bible, it means something. So Genesis 41, verse 51. Joseph now has two sons. The firstborn is Manasseh. Do you want to know what it means? Manasseh means God has made me to forget all my troubles and forget my land of affliction. The second born, his name is Ephraim. It means God has caused me to be fruitful in the land of my affliction. Can you imagine that? Joseph was able to get to the point where God has allowed him to forget all his affliction and God has now made him to become fruitful in the land of his affliction. How in the world is Joseph able to say that? That what you intended for evil against me, God turned it around for good. How in the world? How do you go from that kind of struggle into strength, that kind of hopelessness into being hopeful like that? How do you do that? Well, let me tell you something. Joseph literally told his brothers, he said, God sent me here ahead of you to preserve life, right? I'm going to tell you a little bit about my story so that it can make a little bit of sense of someone that's talking to you. Because I know sometimes when we've gone through a lot of heartache, we've gotten through trauma, we've gone through, trials and tribulation, and it can overwhelm us to the point where we don't know how to get out of it. We now feel stuck in life. And I want to present to you that Joseph had a strategy. And the strategy is in the Bible. And when the Lord showed me this strategy, it was just powerful. So I'm about to share it with you. How do you go from struggle to strength? How do you go from being stupid to success? How do you go from being a victim to being a victim? What I'm about to share with you. I was born in Nigeria, okay? I was born and raised in Nigeria. I was raised in a poverty-stricken environment, okay? I know what it feels like to not have food to eat. We had holes in our shoes. I grew up watching my mom being like abused physically, being beaten. And at some point she had to escape the horror. And so she left us because she had to escape the horror. We were left with my father. We suffered a lot in my father's hands. Okay. And I know what it feels like not to have food to eat. Okay. I know what it feels like, 6 children, to wait around the table to wait for my father to finish his food and then take his leftover bones and suck on it. I know what it feels like. Okay. I was abused emotionally, physically, and sexually. I was told that I would never amount to anything. Okay. My other name was stupid. I had a cousin that never called me by my name, would always call me stupid. Okay. My father hated my gut. So I understand what it means and what it feels like to come from despair and hopelessness and poverty and trauma. I understand. So I'm not discounting anybody's pain. But I'm also here to tell you that the Lord doesn't want you to stay there. Okay? I'm going to preface this. I have forgiven my father. Okay? So that we are all on the same page. My father's actually coming here in about a week to stay with me for a couple of days for Thanksgiving. My father has never been in my house here in Georgia. And so that is the gift of redemption and forgiveness. So I'm just wanting to know, I'm not telling you the story so you can feel bad for me. No, not at all. I wanted to know that there is hope when you feel hopeless, because God shows us in his word. So how do you go from being a victim to being a victim? Because I remember a time when, because of all of the things that was done to me, I was so angry. Do you understand that? I was so angry. And I remember, well, let me just say, before I keep going, I know I realize that some people have joined me. I want to make sure you know that my book is coming out in about 2 months. In the next 2 months or less, my book is coming out. And so in the description of this video, I'm going to add a link that where you can download a freebie that I'm giving you. And once you download that freebie, you actually, you will be automatically notified once my book is released, and you will be one of the people that will get your hands on the copy. So we're going to have copy that we're going to, because we're not necessarily putting it on Amazon when we first release it. So we're going to be shipping it out ourselves. So my book is coming out in about 2 months, and I would like you to be one of the first people to get your hands on it. So on the description of this this live, there is going to be a link there, and you can download the freebie, and you will be one of the people that will be notified once we get the book released. It will be a copy that I signed and I've prayed over. Okay. So let's get back to the story of Joseph. So let's see. I remember, so years ago, I was having such a hard time forgiving my dad. I was depleted of hope. Okay. I was lost. I was angry, and I was a believer. Okay. I was going to church and all, but I was plagued so much with anger and frustration because everything I did failed. Okay. Everything. I was programmed for failure. And it was such a devastating time. I was struggling. I really wanted to forgive, but I just didn't know how to. The pain was just too much, right? And I remember the Lord said to me, I want you to start to thank me for your pain. And I was like, excuse me? Thank you for the pain? What? Why? How? I can't. Did you understand what I've gone through? And um, And so it took me a minute there to understand what the Lord was showing me. So he took me to this story that I just told you about, the story of Joseph. And I began to understand what the Lord was telling me, that I needed to find hidden gems in my pain. Let me explain to you what I mean. There are values. Your pain has value. Everything that you have experienced in life has value. And I mean everything that you have experienced, the good, the bad, the ugly. Everything that you've experienced has value. Okay. Um, when you begin to look at the things that you've experienced and you start to look for the hidden gems, the diamonds in the rough, you start to look for them inside what you've been through, you start to notice that what the enemy meant for evil, what the enemy meant to destroy you, God has actually turned it around for your good. So, for example, let me give you a couple of examples so that you can understand what I'm trying to say. For mine, I just told you a little bit about my story, how I grew up, right? Let me tell you some gems, some hidden gems that are in my story because of what I went through, because I didn't have a relationship with my father and I needed a father in my life. It got me to run to God. And that's how I developed this intimate relationship that I have with him now. Had I not gone through all of the pain and the heartache that I went through, I wouldn't have this kind of relationship that I have right now. If you know me, people who know me very well, people that are closer to me usually would say, "Oh, you need someone to pray for you? Go to Lara." People often refer to me as a prayer warrior. Do you understand what I mean? God has given me a gift of boldness, a gift of faith. And so people often refer to me as the prayer warrior. Go to Lara, go to Lara. Lara will help pray you through. But people always ask me, how did you become this way? I didn't become this way overnight. I believe that that's one of my hidden gems because of the suffering and the pain that I had gone through so much. It is what led me to find my source of refuge and hope in God, that his word became my anchor. His word became everything to me, that was all I knew how to read, how to memorize, and how to do all of the things. And so because of what I went through, I now have this amazing gift that I have. Because of what I went through, I'm able to now share my story and bring value to other people and help other people and help pull them out of their struggle into strength. And so if you look at it, I have so many hidden gems. And I began to realize what God was trying to tell me, to start to be grateful and be thankful. And so I started to actually thank God one by one. I would literally go through the list of all of the things that I went through. I would say, God, because I went through all of that suffering of hunger and pain, now my business is dedicated to helping the poor. Do you understand what I mean? Like this is what I thrive in, helping the poor, because I don't want anybody else to go through what I went through. And so because of all of the things that I went through, that is a hidden gem, that I would not have had that kind of compassion and ability to become successful, because I had to learn. I was so desperate to learn something different other than what I have been programmed to be failure. Do you understand what I mean? So there were so many gems. By the time I was done, y'all, I had a whole page of all the hidden gems that were in my life as a result of all of the pain and the trauma that I had gone through. All of them, every single one of them has value. And I was able to put value to every one of them. Like, wow, God, you are right. Need to start to thank you. So I began to thank God. Father, I thank you that I was rejected when I was little, because if I was not rejected, I would not know the hunger to search for a father in you. Do you understand that? I would not have known what that looks like. And because of me being rejected, this is who I now have become now. And now I have a voice to help other people, pull them out of pain and trauma. Do you understand that? And take them out of being stuck in life to where they can actually become successful in their relationship, in their creating wealth, in their health. That is not what God has called me to do. And it's all because of what I had gone through. So yes, that's what Joseph did. Joseph said, God has caused me to forget all my affliction. God has made me to become fruitful in the land of my affliction. The very thing that was meant to destroy me, I am now fruitful in it. If Joseph had not been sold into slavery, he would not have been able to interpret Pharaoh's dreams, which means he would not have been able to come up with a master plan in devising a plan to solve the problem of famine and save the Israelites and the Egyptians, save them from starvation. Can you imagine if Joseph had not been sold to slavery? So all of the gems that came out of it, the entire Egypt nation was saved. The Israelites were saved. Do you understand what I mean? Jacob, his father, was able to now see him and spend another 17 years with him. And so all of the things that came out of the life, the suffering and the trauma and the pain and all the afflictions and the struggle that Joseph went through, it was not for waste. It was for good and beauty that came out of it. Joseph began to thank God for it. And that's how you, my friend, you go from being a victim to becoming a victor. Being a victim to be going into victory, from going from struggle to strength, because the truth of the matter is there is no advancement or growth without adversity. I'm going to say that again. There is no advancement or growth without adversity. And so every single one of your struggle, your trauma, your pain, your afflictions, they have value. And when you begin to turn it into gratefulness, start to see what has happened to you as a result of all of those pain, as a result of all of the trauma. Are you now more sensitive? Are you now more compassionate? Are you now more, because of it, now you know God? Start to take inventory about all of the things that have happened to you because you start to notice the hidden gems that are in your afflictions and in your pain. And when you begin to thank God for it, I guarantee you, you too will soon be able to say, God has caused me to forget all my afflictions. God has caused me to become fruitful in the land of my affliction. So I want to encourage you to come out of the victimhood. I want to encourage you to sit down today, this weekend, or whatever. We're still on Tuesday. Come on, I'm already on Friday, y'all. Today's Tuesday, right? I think so. But today, sit down and write down all of the things that you've been through, all of the experiences you've had, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and begin to take inventory about the hidden gems. Find them. Ask the Holy Spirit, God, show me the good that has come into my life because of the pain that I went through, because of the trauma that I went through, because of all of the adversities that I went through, because of all of that. Begin to ask God to show you it will blow your mind. You'll be surprised and begin to thank him for it. Watch, you'll be able to forgive your offenders. You'll be able to forgive the people that hurt you, and you will be able to see it in a different light. I am telling you right now, the strategy is amazing. That God, it's such a thing that the Lord showed me many years ago, and it has completely transformed my mindset, completely transformed my mind, and the way I thought of all of the pain and all of the suffering. And that's how I was able to go from the place of being a victim to becoming a person who God can say, now you can go out there and help other people. Do you understand that? And so I want to, my phone is about to die. I want to remind you again, I cannot wait, y'all. This strategy is going to be in my book. My book is coming out in about a month, about 2 months, probably less than that, actually. And I now want you to be one of the people that will, get a notification that the book is released. So I want to join the email list that I have so that you can get notification. So in the description of this video, there is a freebie that I'm giving you. When you get that freebie, you automatically be notified that the book has been released and you can get your copy. Okay. It's going to be exciting. I am so excited to get a copy of my book in your hands. I'm so excited. So if this video has blessed you in any way, I need you to share it with your friend, tag your friends, share it, and let them know that there is a way to overcome your adversities. There is a way to overcome all of the difficulties that you've gone through. There is a way that God has laid out in His Word for us that we learn how to overcome the pain and the struggle and all of the things. And I want to hear your testimony. If you do the exercise, which I will encourage you to do it, and I want to know how it affected you, how it changed your mindset, how I want to know. So again, don't forget to download the freebie so that you can get notified when my book comes out. I will talk to you soon. Thanks for joining me. I have only 2 seconds left on my phone, or 2 minutes left on my phone. I cannot believe that I decide to go live, and then my phone decides to, I did not notice it at all. So anyway, it's been great chatting with you all. I'll see you soon. Bye for now.